Welcome back to our podcast, Don't Chew With Your Mouth Open. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who continue to listen to us, we appreciate your support. Continue to like, share, and comment. For those of you who are here for the first time, hope you find this information valuable. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we would love to go in this journey with you. And thank you for continuing to be with us in Don't Chew With Your Mouth Open. Welcome to our episode of our podcast, Don't Chew With Your Mouth Open, where we'll discuss business, economics, finance, investments, and wealth creation for the global south. Now, today I'm going to speak about something I witnessed. My son was training with one of his coaches, and his coaches said to him, action beats inaction every time. What was he trying to communicate to him? He was trying to communicate that indecision will cost you more in your athletic endeavors than a decision which may turn out to have a negative outcome. You can correct a decision that has a negative outcome, but you cannot correct indecision, because indecision moves with doubt. You are not willing to risk and believe that what you're choosing to do will actually work out positively, and that there is a risk that it may not, and accepting that risk. The role of an actuary is to price risk, and in making decisions we are pricing risk. The coach was communicating clearly to my son, have a strong bias towards action. This hit me more than it hit my kid, because I realized that a lot of us, including myself, prefer to stay in the realm of preparation, consistently reviewing, looking at, trying to assess, and not actually in the process of doing. Doing has value. Preparation has value. It removes blind spots and risk, but doing has value. And when you repeatedly do, you enable yourself to execute better. You can review your decisions and then restructure them to make sure they are or do better. Now, why is this important? A long time ago, before I got married, I had access to credit. I took a loan and I couldn't repay it, because at the time when I wanted to repay it, I got retrenched. And when I got retrenched, instead of dealing with the issue, instead of going to the bank and going there and saying, listen, this is my problem, I've been retrenched, this is my struggle, I kept lingering and ignoring the phone calls and trying to avoid being in a space where I have to confront the issue. Until one day, I realized that my inaction was driving further negative consequences, one of which was my credit rating was plummeting. So, had I had a strong bias towards action at that time, had I had gone to that financial institution and said, I've been retrenched, this is my circumstance, how can we restructure my life? How can I repay you what I owe you? How can I repay or have some form of moratorium? And I didn't do that. And when I finally did it, it set me free. It enabled me to make better choices, because I had a bias towards action. So those coaches' words rang true, that action beats inaction every time. When you're opting out of not doing instead of doing, you will always find yourself in deeper problems. Always look to prepare and do, rather than ignore, because once you ignore and drive ignorance, it festers and becomes worse. And this applies across all spectrums of life. Last year, this time, I weighed just over 113 kgs. I went and saw the doctor, and the doctor said to me, your blood pressure is so high, you are a heart attack waiting to happen. I then had at that point to take action. I now work out 5 times a week. I now weigh 93 kgs. And that's because I took action. Had I been calm and not done the right thing, I don't know if I'm here speaking to you today. This applies to your finances as well. Have a strong bias towards action. Whatever it is that you're looking at, Look at it, prepare, be decisive in correcting, improving, or continuing to establish that habit. If you budget well, continue it. Continue to be active in that way. If you don't budget well, start today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for next week. Start today. Have a strong bias towards action. Have a strong bias towards action. Decisiveness. Now, many of us may say we don't have much. We don't have a lot to budget. We don't have a lot to consider. But the way out of that situation is not inaction. The way out of that situation is action. Look at what you can do to improve your financial situation. Look at who you can talk to make it better. You look at many opportunities to invest. We have lost lots of money. We ourselves at Shiloh Capital, we recently did a transaction where we lost 3 million rand. We did all the due diligence, we did all the work, but yet we still lost money. However, what we gained was strong IP and experience in that sector. Expensive loss, however, our bias towards action ensured that we learned and our learning curve was steep, and we now have new IP to extract value from that industry. It's part of the game. Every choice has a consequence, some of which you cannot control. Every decision has a downside. There's risk. And you've got to accept that risk when you make those choices. What you can't do is not make a choice. Because when you don't decide, when you don't act, you've made the choice already. Whatever the negative and downside consequence of that has already been accepted by you. You have no influence over that consequence or what happens in the future. So what's the message I'm trying to communicate to you? Have a very, very strong bias towards action. Be the person who's proactive, who will go after correcting things that are wrong and reinforcing things that are right. That is quick to do what's right in every environment. Does that mean rush? Does that mean be careless? No, none of the above. What it means is when you're prepared, once you are prepared, you've seen the data, you've seen the evidence, you act on it. And many businesses have been started in that way and become successful because they've understood the data, they've understood the industry. When the gap arises, they've acted decisively. We had a scenario during COVID as a business where we were no longer able to cater for all our staff members. So we had a choice. We could linger on and not have the difficult conversations or have them. So we had the conversation with our staff members. Our business has no revenue. We will run out of money within the next 6 months. So for this business to remain sound, we all need to compromise. Me and my business partners didn't take salaries. The staff took reduced salaries. As a result of those difficult and decisive decisions at the time, Shiloh Capital still exists today. You similarly in your life have similar decisions you need to make, where they are lingering, they are festering. Maybe your relationship with your parents is not great. Maybe you're struggling with your relationship with your partner or your spouse. Maybe the income in your household is not sufficient. Maybe you don't have all the goods in terms of education, results to get the job you want. What will solve those problems is not continuous planning. It's not continuous research. It's action. A strong bias towards action. Going to find counseling. Seeking the right knowledge. Fixing the right habits. I would encourage you, please have a strong bias towards action. I hope this episode was meaningful to you. We look forward to you joining us in the future. Thank you.